Hi everyone, I'm logging back on for another one of these, as promised, short video updates. And as also mentioned, trying to pick a general topic, so there's something to kind of double down and focus on in these short videos. And also that coming from different experiences, whether in my personal life, again, whether that's around being a disabled person, being a wheelchair user on a personal level, or just separate to disability, but just me generally, day to day with all bits and bobs that I feel are relevant to share with you, the amazing and awesome audience, but also representing broader points from the disabled community, whether they are sort of universal, holistic points, or it could be, going out into the visually impaired community or the neurodiverse community. So sort of looking at maybe specific parts in different areas of the disability world. So again, just trying to reiterate and frame my kind of plans at the moment for going live, as it has in beautiful big, well, white font, but wrapped in purple there at the bottom. It says user insights. So when we founded Purple Goat back in April, the big thing was about helping brands to communicate better with disabled people and for disabled people. And we've very much been doing a lot of that, some really cool content creation with amazing influencers, amplifying it to new sort of communities and new audiences that were previously not seeing and hearing about different messages from different brands. So that's all been happening as per the original plan. But what became apparent quite quickly is that some brands really have no idea about the needs and wants of disabled people. And so on a very simple level, user insights are the best first step for any of those kind of brands to actually just understand disability. And also the other side of the coin is it's finally giving us disabled people a voice and a platform to actually share our experiences with different brands. So I guess that's the theoretical part there, right? That you've got, it's not just businesses, there's government departments, there's disability charities that just historically have never done a great job. I'm not picking on any in particular here, but I think most of those other industries would agree there's a lot more improvement to be done around actually engaging and listening to everyday disabled people. So that's something that we've been able to facilitate. But I thought rather than just being overly philosophical, don't want to get too political, but yeah, just to not be so theoretical, basically, to give a couple of examples. So as I mentioned a couple of days ago, I had the ITV news crew out. I'm still waiting to hear when the content's going to be used for the piece they were making. They said it will be sometime this week, but it wouldn't be immediately. So as promised, as soon as I get any links, I'll share it on my social channels. But in preparing for that, I actually wanted to find out from other disabled people their shopping experiences in COVID with a disability, which was the whole point of this news piece. So I put a message out on Disability Horizons Facebook, the closed tribe group that we've got a couple of thousand people in there. And so many people got back really quickly, different impairments, different experiences, positive and negative. But ultimately, those insights gave me a really, really great help when I then went on the news and represented disability. I didn't want to just give my own personal perspective, which I also gave, but I also wanted to give those broader views, those user insights. So it fed into that media experience really, really positively, actually, which was great. And then also one of the clients we work with at Purple Goat in the supermarket world, and I'm not going to, as I said earlier, be naming particular clients or generally particular brands, but I was then able to make a short video that was used or will be used in a training session. Again, similar to what I'd said to the media, but that's gone straight to the heart of that particular supermarket chain. So again, that insight, both from me personally, but also from the community, has gone in. There's a few messages coming up. Someone saying, "Grr, LOL, we want to hear names," from Kevin. No, I'm not naming names. It's not worth the good, the bad, or the indifferent consequences. I just want to talk more broadly about industries. Jonathan saying national ITV News or regional. So what I understood from the guy that came out, Matt Hurd, was that it will actually be done, and get Kevin's laughing faces as well. It was done originally for Anglia News, local regional where I live, but it's part of the content hub whereby lots of other regions will be able to use the piece for their own version of that topical part of disability and shopping experiences. So it's not the national ITV News, it's regional, but it should go on more than only Anglia, which, as I say, is where I'm actually based. Trish is saying, "Hello, Martin, great to hear from you again." And Guy's saying, "Talking sense again, Martin. It's important to state that you bring whole market experience to clients and that disability is a huge an extra layer within the cake." And that was obviously to earlier on when I was talking about the different subsections and sub-communities and not just my own experience. So anyway, I've touched upon the media benefit of user insights, and I've touched upon the broader supermarket industry, but indeed one of the clients we're working with, and that video I made just for them being used in a more of a training context. And then the third thing to mention, which I was already sort of going to come on and do something about user insights sometime today or tomorrow, but I've actually just come off of a call with a pharmaceutical company that we've been doing some work with, who are developing an app for the community for people with my impairment, which is called spinal muscular atrophy. And for those of you who don't know, there's actually 3 treatments either available or coming soon, whereas 2 years ago, a bit more than that, the treatment had just always been this kind of distant maybe thing that may or may not ever come. And I could go off on a whole tangent about how I and the community have grown up feeling about treatments, in terms of whether it's, whether we want to be cured, whether we're content with the life we have. And I say there's lots of different opinions within the community, and that's maybe for another day. I'm going off on a tangent now, but it's an interesting topic, believe me, when you talk about sort of treatments and how that whole world works. But in terms of what I'm talking about today, the app will be used to help the community with sort of tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, again, there was a group of us with SMA that were able to look at, and we've been doing this over months now, but ultimately to be able to say, this is what we would want from such a project as an individual, but representing the community. Then when you get into actual websites and apps, you can give viewpoints on design, brand, functionality, accessibility, obviously. And so really it's just another example to articulate the same point that I'm banging the drum for today on the importance of user insights. And I think, if you ask any designer, whether they're designing a physical product, a digital thing, spaces like, new buildings, or architects, whether they're designing services, whatever the designer's doing, there should always be user insights. So most designers will agree with that concept. I think the problem as disabled people is we've never been thought about in the design stage, and very often at all. And as much as there's more awareness now in the news and more representation of disabled people in the media, I think a really, really important thing for disabled people to be included economically, socially, politically, environmentally, attitudinally, all the alleys. It has to start with us being included in the design phase, and what better way when anyone is going to design something new to get a group of disabled people to have a voice and opinion. And of course, we know in the design process that there are lots of frictions and variables and opposing points in some instances. And so it doesn't mean that, I think this is maybe a message for disabled people watching, that, you know, we always should articulate and advocate for our needs and wants and push bloody hard for them to be adopted. But I think, again, there's going to be those elements of compromise, and, you know, there are other factors at stake when it's a universal design. But I think, again, if you look at universal design, very often when you design for those with more particular needs or additional needs, you actually make the whole experience better for everyone. And that's something I've learned a lot about when I've been working with Tom and Christine and the panel leads at Open Inclusion as well the last few years, that concept of inclusive and universal design is really, really powerful and important in an ethical, moral sense, but obviously in the business sense as well. So yeah, it's been really cool that, you know, we've been able, well, I as an influencer have brought my user insights to different parts of the world in recent years. And I'm sure many of you watching as influencers or change makers, as entrepreneurs, as employees, just by doing what you do, you know, having your own day-to-day experience, just keep, you know, articulating those experiences and pushing for inclusion, because it does make such a difference. And obviously, yeah, more recently as Purple Goat, it's been great that we've been able to work with the influencers in our network to bring those user insights into certain different places, but always with that ultimate goal. And I always want to make this really clear, that we then want brands and, you know, charities, government and businesses, but all brands, to then speak publicly and work with disabled people and market to disabled people, because we want to be treated like everybody else in that context. And so, yeah, it's still that bigger vision that you know, we're hunting down the marketing communications part of the puzzle, and a lot of that's doing some really cool stuff. But this insights piece for marketing purposes is really, really powerful. So that's today's short, as I said, it's not an hour long, still hit nearly 13 minutes there, but short videos that touch upon particular topics and pieces today on user insights. As I said last time, please, you know, write on the comments if there's any other topics you'd like me to cover, any sort of areas to explore. I've got a whole list I've been jotting down myself to go after, and yeah, maybe do 2 or 3 a week, something like that. But yeah, I need to head off because I've got another call, another meeting to head on to shortly. And thanks for those that tuned in on the live. It was great to have all the comments coming in live. And as always, thanks for those watching the replay later on. Chris has noticed I've got my purple top. Again, I'm not going to go off on a tangent, but I was getting a bit of a belly and this top didn't fit me a few months ago. And I've been working really hard on my physical well-being as well as my mental well-being, which, as I say, is probably a topic for another day. But I'm loving the fact this purple hoodie fits me again. So I'm probably going to only be wearing this purple hoodie now for the next month or two. Jokes, obviously. But yeah, as you say, Chris, I've got a purple hoodie for Purple Goat. But yeah, and anyone watching the replay, do feel free to put your comments and questions, and I'll keep an eye as the day goes on. And yeah, I'll be back again soon for one of these shorter bite-sized updates. In the meantime, take care. Bye-bye.